Hi guys. It's dark out here. Sorry, I got a light. Hopefully that works. I just got up here to the field where we're irrigating here. Are we back? Sorry guys. I was hoping that my cell phone service out here would be good enough, and it may or may not be, but we will see. So sorry about that. Okay, anyway, as I was saying, I made it up here to the irrigation field maybe 15 minutes ago. Pretty quickly realized that we had a problem. So earlier today when I started this, I filmed a nice clip from tomorrow's video about how usually anytime I have problems with this irrigation stuff, it's user error, operator error, my own fault. And well, I don't think it was my fault, but there's a little Honda engine on the Traveler that rewinds this reel. It died right after I left the field. So the Traveler has been sitting in one spot for about 3.5 hours now. It's a little wet there, just a little. So I'm walking out to the end of the gun now. I'm sure you can't see anything yet. When we get out there, I don't know if you'll be able to see much or not, but I'll show you what I can. And oh well, so I turned it, I got the motor started back up. I turned it up as fast as it will go basically, so we're at least gonna get the gun away from the spot where it's super wet as quick as possible. And really I need to get the run done. I was really counting on this being done tonight at like 11:15 because it's gonna rain tonight and I don't wanna let this thing run overnight. But I gotta get it reeled in. I can't have it pulled all the way out if it gets a bunch of rain, because then it'll be wet and it'll be stuck here, and I don't want that. So all right, where are we at? The funny thing about staring into this light is I can't see anything else. So I will get to your questions and comments in just a minute, I promise. All right, we're getting close to the gun here. There you can see a little bit. So it's still shooting out. We're still running 70 psi. We are starting to move. Let me flip this around. Can I turn on my lights? No. So you guys can't see anything, so that doesn't work. Okay. Yeah, it's still impressive, even when it's dark. Oh, I'm getting all wet. Okay. Well, it is moving, and I'm sure you guys can't see very well. My apologies. I know it's dark. I know that doesn't look fast, but for this thing, that's flying. All right. We're going to walk back to the base. Let's get to some comments here. Okay. Start back at the top. This is going to be cool, man. I hope so. Sorry. Yeah. Minnesota got some rain. How much rain did you guys get out there in Minnesota? It's coming. It's in southwest Michigan right now. I just looked at the radar again, and yeah, I'm pretty sure we're going to get some rain tonight. So that's a good thing. And it means that I'm not going to pull this thing back out tonight. So yeah, I don't think the coon will get me out here yet. There's no corn on these stalks, so you know, I got no reason to be out here in the middle of my fields, right? Two inches, nice. I bet that was a good rain. Is Minnesota, I know central Minnesota was dry. Are you still dry out there? Thanks for joining us, Scott. I'm doing good. Thanks for checking in. I know it's a little late tonight start, but I don't know. I was going to sit up here for an hour and then this thing was going to be done and I was going to go home after I shut it off, but now I might be here a little longer. So it was a good time to just sit here and do a live stream. Read your comments. I'm walking back to my truck. This is kind of where I lost signal earlier. It's possible I lose it again. I will be right back. So just, that's, yeah, there for a second. Al, hi, how are you tonight? Yeah, I don't know if this rain that's coming is heading up your way. It was heading more south than east, I think. Yeah, ninja thing, I know. South central Minnesota, okay. You weren't quite as dry then. Bigfoot's not around here. I do know that. Oh, man. It's going to be really wet back there where that thing sat for 3.5 hours and didn't move. Like, it doesn't cover a very big area at one time. It relies on that constant motion to keep it spread out and moving and not having it. And the worst part is it was right by that house's yard. There's a tree that I think I was hitting and their yard's going to be flooded. Motor, that's the one that died. I got her revved way up. We're pulling in on the second wrap. We got to look at our chart. Second layer, 90. That means it's pulling in 90 inches per minute. So what's 90 inches? 60 would be 5 feet, so that's 7.5 feet per minute. Somebody check my math, but that's fast. We're still out 728 feet though, so it's got a ways to go. Somebody want to do that math for me? What's first of all, 90 divided by 12 I believe is 7.5. Quick math in my head. Oh, I'll sit in my truck here for a minute. And then whatever 90 divided by 12 is, 728 divided by that number. That's how many minutes it will take us this thing to finish. Then we can go check our timer and make sure it's on for that long. And I know we're not. How do I make your chats come back? All right. Well, I brought my iPad so that I can watch the chats on there. There. Sorry. Oh, there they were. There. Okay, now where was I? Do you just irrigate this one field or what? Yes. So our system is a hard hose traveler, obviously, and we lay out this irrigation pipe and we don't move. There's not a lot of irrigation in our area, and we kind of thought that we could make it pay here, but nobody else does it, so it was hard to make an investment and actually try it. But that's why we went with the traveler system. It's a little bit cheaper and it's mobile. So I know for a fact that we can make more money irrigating corn than we can soybeans, although we've done well with soybeans in the past. But so we can irrigate a cornfield every year, even when we rotate crops, because, you know, like this year I'm in this field. Well, next year we'll have beans here and I can go irrigate a different field that will have corn in it, as long as it's close enough to the river to get pipe set up and pump out of. So that's why we went with the traveler. It's more mobile, cover more acres with it, even if it is a lot more work. But long story short, the reason that there's not a lot more irrigation, or that we don't have it in more than one field or more systems, is because we don't really need it. Yeah, we can get some really good yield increases and do really well irrigating, but we're still going to grow a crop even without it. It's not like Southwest Michigan, Nebraska, Kansas, where they have the sands or they don't get the rainfall. And if you don't irrigate, your crop is no good. And then, you know, we will still grow pretty decent crops whether we have water or not. It's just a matter of how much better can we make them if we can put water on at the right time. We also are in a spot where we have to put an inch on every week all summer. For the most part, this year may be a little bit different because we started so early, but usually if we put 1 or 2 inches on a year, it makes all the difference in the world. And you know, so it doesn't take a lot of water to make a big impact for us, but at the same time we don't have to have it. So the last time we had corn in this field was 2017, and it averaged a little over 235 bushels per acre, and that was easily 20 bushels better than our next best field that year, but probably 45 bushel better than what this field would have been without the water. So while 200 was good on the rest of our acres, 235 is better where we put water on, right? What make and model is the old John Deere tractor using out there? That, our 4020. It is a 1965 model, and my grandfather bought it brand new. And so we restored it here about 8 years ago, but it still gets used. She's got some issues, steering problems and stuff, but we use it a little bit. Needs to get fixed. Crops look good in Minnesota, that's good. Yeah, sometimes the mosquitoes are bad, but tonight not so bad. I don't know why. Although I did put bug spray on a couple hours ago, maybe that's why. 97.06. Is that the answer? How many minutes this is going to take? Yeah, center pivots in Florida. Farm down south. We do not. Technically, that farm is east, Berkey. It's not south. It's straight east. I always say down there, but it's really east. That soil is even heavier clay than what we farm around here. Old lake bed, low stuff. There's times when water would help, but definitely not necessary. Ag grain travelers, not any real remotely close to here. There's a Cadman dealer literally 7 or 8 miles from here, so that's pretty much what everybody buys because that's what we can get parts and stuff for really quickly. Yeah, the hard hose travelers are they're not super common, but people do use them. They work really good for irregular shaped fields, for places where you can't put a center pivot, so I see them around every now and then. There's also some people that use soft hose travelers. That's a whole nother system, similar, but it's different, and you'd have to Google it, YouTube it, but after this. Why can't you put magnesium in the sprayer when you are spraying nitrogen? Well, by sprayer, do you mean the actual sprayer or irrigation here? Because in the irrigation, I could technically, but I don't really feel like we have a magnesium deficiency that I need it. And if you're referencing what I was spraying the other day on those beans, manganese, not magnesium, 2 different nutrients. And again, I could put it in with the irrigation water, but I don't need that up here. Those beans that needed that manganese, were in a couple of spots that had real high organic matter, and they it just ties up the manganese in those soils, so we apply it foliar. So it's just a few acres that need it, and not anywhere that we irrigate. Do you put a fungicide on your corn or beans? Yes. In fact, I already sprayed a little over half of this field with a fungicide last week. Early fungicide. We'll probably get it sprayed again with a airplane at tassel time when it's tall. We haven't had a ton of luck spraying corn, so we don't spray all of our acres of corn with a fungicide, but we have seen consistent every single year returns on soybeans, and we spray every acre of beans basically with a fungicide no matter what. Although I say that, but last year, because they were planted June 28th, we didn't. We did a few, and we should have sprayed them all because they were much better. Difference between taxes between Michigan and Ohio. Honestly, I don't have a good answer to that. I think that Michigan is higher, but don't know by how much, and things vary so much based on drainage assessments and stuff. Yeah, so I don't pay those taxes. My dad takes care of all that, so I can't really answer it. 1.37 hours. Yeah, okay. We'll check it again here in a little bit. My pump is going to shut off at about 11:15, which is an hour from now, so may not quite get done. May have to tack another 15 minutes or a half hour on it. Probably just 15 minutes. Thinking about your side dress rig. You should look into a Great Plains 40-foot side dress bar. High-speed coulters or shanks. Yeah. I couldn't even tell you who sells Great Plains around here, but it would be. Seal was awesome. It sealed far better than I could have imagined it was going to, so that was great. And we'll see if we do go with a shank style bar and we decide that we want to upgrade and stay with that style. There's a neighboring farm about 25 miles east of us that builds bars, Countryside Implements, and we work with them. We get parts for our current bar from them. They build top of the line, as good as it gets, shank bars, and that's what we'll end up with. But they're not cheap either, and we'll see. I really liked that high speed. It was pretty nice, but we haven't made any more N in this field with the sprinkler. Yeah, so putting more nitrogen on. Ideally, I would not be irrigating when the corn is knee high. I like to make that first pass right before it tassels in about another 3 weeks. And in that case, I would love to put more nitrogen on then, and I plan on doing so. I am putting just a little bit on right now because I'm putting that ammonium thiosulfate on, more so for the sulfur that's in it than for the nitrogen, but it is getting just a tiny shot of nitrogen. But we side dressed this field less than 2 weeks ago. It's not out of nitrogen by any means. It doesn't really need added N right now. So that's why I like to do it just pre-tassel. That's when the nitrogen demands in the corn are the highest and the most critical timing. So it all depends on the weather and whether we're dry enough to need to irrigate at that point or not. We'll yes, I would like to put more in on. Current bar is a 16 row. Yes, it is it's actually a 15 shank, but it matches up with the 40-foot planter. The outside rows get a rate and a half, and then you skip a row. So 15 shank and hydrous bar matches up with a 16 row corn planter. Should be getting rain soon. Oh yeah, let's look at the radar. Here. Well, maybe if it loads, there it is. Yeah, it's coming. Got a little ways to go to get here yet. Definitely is coming though. Yeah, definitely. Hopefully this traveler gets reeled in before it starts raining, because if it starts raining, I'm getting out of this field. I'm not gonna be in here in a muddy mess. So we do have some lightning off to the northeast. That is definitely not gonna hit. It's a long ways away. That's clear up by Ann Arbor where that lightning is. Huh. All right, where are we at? Website and see. Burnup sells Great Plains? I did not know that. There's a Burnups dealer 15 miles from here, but we've never bought anything from them. They have a salesman that's come around a couple of times. Nice guy, but anytime I've gone in looking for parts on some stuff that we have that they do carry that line, yeah. How close are you to harvesting your wheat? I am estimating that we're about a week to a week and a half out. If I had to guess right now, it'll be the Monday after the 4th of July. I don't know. Depends on the weather, depends on a lot of things. It may be the end of that week before it's actually ready. I don't know, but we're somewhere in that week and a half-ish is what I'm estimating. So I was really hoping to get the combine home today. That did not happen. It may happen. There you go. Okay, sorry. Know that either. Like I said, we don't work with them a ton. We used to a fair amount more, but I don't know. We'll talk to them. Is there a benefit to side dressing with a bar versus granular? Yeah, so granular dry fertilizer for nitrogen, you're talking urea, most likely. That's the cheapest. There's also ammonium sulfate, which is a dry. It's got some sulfur in it. The problem with those, there's a couple of things. One, they're a little bit more expensive than anhydrous. They're kind of somewhere between anhydrous and liquid, 28%. So there's a little bit of a cost factor there. The other thing is that we don't have the equipment to spread dry fertilizer, so we'd either have to buy that or we would have to hire it done from our fertilizer dealer, which isn't the end of the world. We could certainly buy something. Side dress, I don't know if guys side dress dry very much. Usually it's a pre-plant and they work it in type thing, because you don't want urea laying on the surface. And so then it becomes a timing issue, and can we get it done before we want to plant if we're going to do it ourselves, and if we're going to hire it done, can they get it done on the schedule when we need it? And also, dry is a lot harder to get an even application than liquid or gas, because you're using a spinner most of the time. There are air booms, but most of the time they're just going out there with a dry box and a spinner and trying to spread an 80 or 90 foot pattern, and you get a little overlap, you don't, and whether they're accurate enough or not, I don't know. I know a lot of guys that do that, and they work. It's fine. If we were on narrow rows, that'd probably be our best option, but I like the anhydrous from the cost standpoint, from the the amount standpoint, because with liquid, the liquid is 28% nitrogen, the anhydrous is 82% nitrogen, so it takes a lot less volume to get the same amount of nitrogen out of it, so we're hauling a lot less. And as long as you're safe and careful with it, it's not as dangerous as it seems. So anyway, that's why we are sticking with the anhydrous. I did figure out, based on prices that I had gotten last fall, or what we're paying for anhydrous, and I don't know what 28 is now, if it's gone up since the price that I got in the fall, but we saved a little over $10,000 this year, somewhere between $10,000 and $12,000 by using anhydrous over 28. So yeah, we're gonna stick with the anhydrous, I think. Nice to support local manufacturing welders. These bars are probably solid, designed for aerosol. Yeah, the Countryside, they build really, really quality stuff. And talking to a few guys, even in Indiana, that you mentioned their name, and they've got quite the reputation. So hopefully rain doesn't miss West Unity. If it misses West Unity and gets us here, I'd be quite shocked. If you miss it, we're gonna miss it, and I don't want that either. No, the guys north of the turnpike don't always get it. That's a lie. Sweet corn around the 1st of July. We will not be getting any sweet corn for the 4th of July. It's growing, but it's definitely not anywhere close to tassel yet. Probably the 3rd, 4th week of July before we get some. And part of that's because we just didn't get stuff planted super early. If we could get out in the middle of April and get some sweet corn planted, then we could probably get some around the 4th of July or just after. But for some reason, I'm always busy that time of year trying to get other stuff done, and sweet corn is not a priority. I don't know why. How many acres of wheat? We have about 500 acres of wheat to combine this year. We're up a little bit from what we normally would be, but that's what we've got. And as far as double crop soybeans go, we do not. We do sometimes double crop soybeans. I like to double crop soybeans. It's not going to happen this year. Basically, the herbicide that we had to use to control the weeds in all of our early wheat will prevent us from planting soybeans back in it. The replant interval is like 7 or 8 months, longer than the 2 months since we've applied it. So not going to happen this year. Anhydrous bars are quite, I'm aware of that. The one that we used is a used bar and has a reasonable price tag on it for what I think the acres are on it, but it's a used one. Kalamazoo, good. It's going to come hard and fast, which is not ideal. I don't need 3 inches out of this, but we'll take what we get, won't we? Yeah, Taylor, broadcast versus row banding, the nitrogen. That's absolutely the difference. Thanks. Yeah, I got that Line-X bed liner when I bought my truck back in 2012. It's held up pretty well. I got a few gouges and scratches from pushing pallets in and out of it. I like it. It's nice. And Phil got one in his new truck that he just got here earlier this spring. So a couple nice stickers in the back of my. Can you guys see that? You can't see that Line-X sticker right now, are you? No, no way. Yeah, but yeah, I've got my Sparty sticker and my Ohio State sticker and my John Deere sticker, and I think there used to be a Golden Harvest sticker. I don't know if there is now. All right, so they're spreading urea up in Minnesota. Yeah, our bar is a Dalton. I think we got it in 2009. Too wet in Mississippi, huh? Oh, look at that. I caught up. Cool. Irrigated your double crop soybeans on? No, I have never irrigated double crop soybeans. Here, we're just late enough getting double crop planted that it's a hit and miss thing anyway. And I'm not... if I can irrigate corn, there's no way I'm going to irrigate double crop soybeans. No way. And if it's dry enough, the double crops need water. It's dry enough, the corn needs water. Unless we're talking late September, and I'm not irrigating then either. Yeah, it's some years on double crops we'll get 10 bushels, some years we'll get 40. It's so hit and miss. There you go. Here, but we used to bale all of our straw. Every acre of wheat that we grew, we would bale it, and we had a guy that would buy our small square bales and take them to the horse race tracks in Chicago, and we got pretty decent money out of that and stuff. But here 15 years ago or so, we kind of decided that was not what we wanted to be doing anymore, and it wasn't worth the work. The summer and baling it during harvest and straw season wasn't such a big deal. It was the fact that we were loading trailers every week, twice a week, and all the time. And so we decided to get out of the straw business. And a friend of mine from high school, we were college roommates, who he worked for us back in the summers when we were in college, he decided that he wanted to do it. And so he bought our straw equipment from us and started baling our straw. We sell it to him out of the field, and he takes care of it from there. And he has blown that business up. We used to bale somewhere between 20 and 25,000 small squares a year, so that's quite a few. We weren't small by any means, but I don't even know how many he did last year. He's got 3 balers now. He's built up what is that, 80 by 150 barn to store straw in. He's doing a bunch of hay. He's got all kinds of stuff, and he's moving a tremendous amount. I think he built like 1,200 acres of straw last year, on top of 80 acres of hay or however much he's doing. I don't know. It was a lot. All right, where are we at? Brand stickers stick out to you. Yeah, I bet they do. I bet you notice them. I notice Golden Harvest stickers all the time when I'm out and around. So, all right, we're going to get out and check where we're at footage-wise here again. Let's see how we're coming. It's moving fast. Really, I should slow it down now and let it start watering, because I'm sure we're well past where it was setting forever. 558. So we pulled in about 200 feet since we were sitting there. Wow, that's quite a bit. Working on the 3rd wrap now. I don't know if you guys can't see it real well, but it's, yeah, right here. In my YouTube video that comes out tomorrow morning, if I get it edited tonight, which I should, I explained how this Traveler works, both the gun and the reel and everything. So look for that explanation of how this thing works tomorrow. Bad right here. Sometimes it leaks, sometimes it doesn't drip at all, and I don't know why. Usually when it's lower pressure, like when it's first filling the hose up before the pressure's built up, or after it shuts off it leaks, but not when it's running. So I don't know. I was really hoping to try out my new lights that I put on there. If you watched today's video, But since I'm not going to pull it out tonight, I'm not going to get to try them. Right. Looks all right. Okay, back to this. Where are we at? If the pump shuts off, does the reel stop automatically? Yes, that does happen. So if the Traveler loses pressure, there's a Murphy switch on there that I replaced the other day because it wasn't working very good. But that will shut that pump off in the motor. So yeah, if you guys are just joining and you didn't see the start of this video, when I got up to the field here tonight, about 15 minutes before I started my live stream, I quickly realized that we had a problem. I started this Traveler up at about 6:30 tonight, and it was running when I left. The little Honda motor on the reel that turns it to reel it back in died shortly after I left, and so it sat in one spot for about 3.5 hours. And yeah, that was a problem because it's really, really wet down there now. So this was supposed to get done here at about 11:15. Obviously, we're not even close. Well, it still got 500 feet left. There was over 800 when I got here, so it had a long ways to go. So I sped the motor up, started it back up, sped it up about as fast as it can go. We're not putting very much water on this run, but we're getting it done so that we're reeled back in before it rains tonight. It's not ideal, wasn't what was supposed to happen, but what are you gonna do? So it's currently reeling in at 90 inches per minute as opposed to 24 that it's supposed to. So I don't know, we're maybe putting on 1/10.5, 2/10 of an inch of rain per acre right now is all. I don't know. I've got a spreadsheet in Google Sheets that I've made up that calculates all for me. It's much simpler. All right. Scott, you said you had to go like 40 minutes ago, so thanks for hanging out, though. Appreciate it. He's probably already gone. That was 3 minutes ago. Why no pre-plant anhydrous? We used to do some pre-plant. I have no problem with pre-plant anhydrous. I wouldn't be afraid of doing that. I like side dress better because it's putting it on closer to when the plant is actually going to use it. But in most cases, we're only talking about 3, maybe 4 weeks difference in application timing. It's not a huge difference. So although this year, had we done much pre-plant, all that anhydrous would have been on when we got that 5.5 inches of rain. What would have happened to our nitrogen? It's a leachable nutrient, mobile, right? It would have gone with the water, and we would have lost at least some fair amount of it. And then we'd be sitting there thinking, well, do we need to put more nitrogen on now, or what do we do? So by side dressing it, it was done after that, and we don't have that concern. All that nitrogen is still there. The plants are using it, and I don't know. I think that's a good thing. I like side dressing. As long as we can get over it, I have no problem doing the side dress, and I would prefer to do it that way. We'd always done some pre-plant in the past because we were worried about weather and getting it side dressed before it got too big. Having that deer bar that goes fast would solve that problem, wouldn't it? All right. Really enjoyed your winter shop time videos. Yeah, you know, when I started doing this last fall and I got into the winter after the field work was done, I wasn't sure how the YouTube thing was going to go. If you know, I was still really small at that point. I'm still small, but it was even more so back then, and I didn't know if guys would want to watch it. I didn't know if I'd film it every day or not, and I just kept making videos, and you guys kept watching them, so I kept making more, and it did go pretty well, actually, and I don't know. We'll see. How shop work is a winter project. That's part of what I love about this job, is the seasonality of it and stuff, and how everything's different all the time. But yeah, I'll remind me in December. But yes, I'll try and show you guys whatever you want to see. I'm talking too much. Illinois is the same way in double crop soybeans. I imagine it varies from the north end to the south end of the state quite a bit. Yeah, getting caught up on my older videos. Hard. I know how hard it is to keep up on videos when I put out a video every day, especially when those videos are 25, 30 minutes long. I'm sorry. It's just, I just film it and then I put it on there and that's what it is. So it's not, I would like to keep them under 20 minutes, but I don't know. It's kind of my thing. Daily videos, I guess. Nobody else is doing that, right? But heck, I'm 2 videos behind on Brian's farming videos. I don't have time to watch that, and he puts them out like twice a week. Brock Zuber. Are you Brock Zuber from Pioneer, Brock? Like one of my old basketball players, Brock? Could you do any custom? Yeah, that'd be you, because you're close, right? Maybe. Find my email address, Brock. Or Facebook, or whatever. Oh, Taylor, old videos from last year. Yeah, so I started making these type of videos back in October, and I know I'm on like 180 of them in less than a year, which is stupid crazy, but yeah, they've evolved a little bit. Al, the rain's coming. It's coming. We're gonna get it. I promise. Yeah, thanks, Joey. Sorry I didn't say hi today when I was in there. Yeah, all right. Harvest wheat. Oh, absolutely. You're going to get wheat harvest videos. Don't worry about that. Hopefully some from in the combine should. And grain cart, all that good stuff. Yeah, that's got to happen too. I got to get the grain cart home. It's a murky. We'll get it. Much pre-plant fall or spring NH3 in here. So 0 fall, like next to 0. I don't know that I've ever seen any around here. We have never done any. We get too much spring rain and warm temperatures for fall anhydrous to be a good idea. I would never, ever even consider doing that. There is some spring pre-plant done, and I have no problem with spring pre-plant, but we just have gone away from it. Yes, please hit the like button. Phil, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. And I feel like I have a lot of you guys that are either retired farmers or used to farm or whatever and watch my videos every morning, or I know a lot of you guys watch them on your lunch breaks and stuff. So that's awesome. I really appreciate it. Enjoy listening and watching your videos. Dead, yeah. I don't know if they're lucky to have a knowledgeable partner. They you know, pretty much everything that I've learned from them. And I know on this channel it makes it seem like I'm running this stuff and I'm doing everything. It's not the case at all, not even a little bit. I do tend to take care of a lot of the field work and the shop work and stuff, but everything I do and have learned to do and the way I do it, pretty much I've learned from my dad or my uncle, and they still do a ton of work just as much. I just don't film it. They don't want to be on camera, which is perfectly fine. Just today, Phil was cleaning out the pit on the grain system. That is a dirty, nasty, crappy job that I don't want to do, and I'm glad that he did it because it means that I don't have to. He pretty well takes care of grain system stuff and hauling. He drives truck a lot, especially in the winter, and I don't want to do that either, so I'm glad that he takes care of that. And Dad does most all the spraying. He does a lot of the tillage work and you know, a lot of the land improvement stuff, taking trees out, tile projects, all that stuff is what Dad handles. So we kind of all have our jobs and we stick to them, and I'm fortunate to get some of the fun ones, but don't think I'm more knowledgeable than they are. My dad got a degree from Ohio State in crop and soil science, so yeah, he knows what he's talking about, and I still have some stuff to learn, let's put it that way. Thanks, Al. I don't want to make 2-hour videos. I think about it a little bit on timing when I'm going through stuff, but it's mostly just you know, is it something that's valuable? Do I find that there's something that you guys would enjoy seeing or that I need to communicate to you guys? And if there is, then I film it. So when I go through and edit them every night, I rarely am deleting stuff, maybe just a little bit here and there for a time constraint, like if I had a lot of dead space where I was just filming something, waiting for something to happen, I'll trim it down or something like that. But I'm not cutting clips out because I feel like everything is valuable and good content and important. What am I putting down with a planter in a 2x2? Precision concealer versus what I'm running now. So we are putting on, I do variable rate starter, and my variable rate matches my variable rate corn scripts. Yeah, so they're the same zones, but basically my base rate in blend is 15 gallons per acre. Of that, 10 gallons is a 12-25-0 2% sulfur, 0.5% zinc product. So it's 1034-0 that's got some zinc and some sulfur added into it. And then the rest of it, well, 4 3/4 gallons was ATS, ammonium thiosulfate, to get me some more sulfur and a little bit of nitrogen. And then I put a quart of boron per acre in my 2x2 this year. So that's what we put on. The rates in the field varied from 10 to 20 gallons, but the base blend was that 15-gallon blend. As far as the precision conceal or 360 conceal stuff, I have seen those. I've not looked at them real close. There's a lot of discussion and thoughts about going to a 2x2x2 system, or yeah, I know Precision's got their furrow jets where they're putting it like 3/4 of an inch down off the seed or something. I don't know. So there's a lot of different things like that. Until we trade planters, I probably won't change fertilizer systems, but when we decide to trade planters, I may look at something like that. I don't know. We'll see. I'm gonna run out of water and have to stop talking. Yeah, so part of that daily videos thing is, you guys pretty much know that if you're watching a video the day it came out, that happened the day before. Almost in all cases, I'm putting out the video, I'll go home and edit it at night, and then I schedule it to post at 8 o'clock in the morning every morning, and that's what happened to me the day before. So you guys it's real time. There's no falling 2 or 3 weeks behind like some of the other channels. Taylor, that's an old video, that bad day video from back in the fall. No, that's not Phil. I'd have to go back because it's been a long time since I watched that one, but I believe that's my Uncle Jack. You'll find him in a few videos here and there, a few throughout the winter when we were working on a combine and stuff. He was around. But yeah, he was there that day and helped me. He held the camera for me when I was dumping some corn and stuff. And yeah. Yeah, you might get to see my dad in some videos. Phil he's not going to be on camera, at least not anything other than just he's driving that tractor over there or something where we're kind of working together, but not directly. Not going to happen. Dad, sometimes he'll come to me like, you should film this, but sometimes working with family is very difficult. This week has been one of those weeks. Dad and I have been on different pages most of the week, so. With the rain coming, could you just turn the pump off and go home? I could, yes. I could just go turn the pump off. I could come back here and hit that button on the Murphy switch to let this finish reeling in. I thought about doing that, but I'm doing this live stream, and I really want the sulfur on. I should have went and turned the sulfur rate up so we could be putting on the right rate of sulfur. But a little bit of water here is not hurting anything, and yeah, we'll just let it reel in. But I'm probably going to let the pump shut it off, and when it does, I'll start it back up and just let it finish. I was hoping to spin the Traveler around so it's ready for the next run. The other thing is, I'm kind of sitting in a low hole. What are the chances that we're going to get 5 inches of rain tonight and it's going to flood like it did before? Because if we do, my Traveler and 2 tractors will be sitting underwater or in a foot or 2 of water, and that's not ideal. So maybe I shouldn't leave them here. I don't know. I'm going to, but if it looks like we're getting a bunch of rain tonight, I'm coming in the morning and we're figuring out how to move them. You watch Corn Warriors? I haven't. I've seen some ads and stuff for that, and I thought yeah, I should watch it, but I have not. Do you think the tech will increase and improve in the next 5 years? Well, it depends on what exactly you mean by tech. Every model and generation of tractors and combines and stuff that comes out has more tech and features and stuff in it. So yeah, absolutely, that trend is going to continue. There's been a lot of talk and stuff about autonomous tractors and farming and that kind of stuff. It's going to happen. I don't know if it'll happen in the next 5 to 10 years, but it is going to happen. And, whether that's an improvement, I guess, is a matter of opinion. There's certainly advantages to it, but I also kind of like driving tractor, right? It's one of the things I enjoy doing. So, I don't know. We'll see. Did my dad and uncle start from scratch, or did they take over? So, a little family farm history for you. Kind of, sort of both. Let's go with that, right? So my dad graduated from high school in '74, was working in a factory. I don't know what they were doing, but he was making a couple bucks an hour maybe at the time. But he really wanted to farm. My dad had 7 brothers, 10 total siblings in his family. And so his opportunity to go home and farm with my grandpa was limited. Just there wasn't room for all of them to go back and farm. They weren't farming that many acres at that time back in the 70s, and so it wasn't going to happen. And so he started doing some math on how he was going to save up enough money to buy a farm, making a couple bucks an hour, and it wasn't going to work. So he called up his high school guidance counselor in June after he had graduated, told him he wanted to get into Ohio State for that fall. So the guidance counselor made a call, and later that day he was in. Crazy. Doesn't work that way anymore. So he went to Ohio State, got a 4-year degree in agronomy, crop and soil science, was on the soil judging team down there. Out of college, he got a job working for Brookside Labs, taking soil samples and feed samples for local farmers in the area, and he did that for a few years and managed to save up. And in the fall of '79 or the spring of 1980, he and 2 of my uncles, not Phil, but 2 other uncles, bought the farm, the land and the farm where we are currently at. Not right now, but our home farm there, the building site. And Dad moved into the house there and started working that and stuff. But my grandpa had been farming down at our farms in Berkey there forever. I mean, my great-grandpa farmed there. And so Dad kind of bought this one, started from scratch there, and has grown it and built it up from that first couple hundred acres, or not even 160 or whatever it is, to over 2,500 around here now. And then Phil was still pretty young at that time. He's a fair amount younger than my dad, and so he was doing the pigs at our farm in Berkey. We used to have a hog barn down there, and they were farrow to finish hog operation, running the farrowing barns and stuff with one of my other uncles. And then they got pseudo rabies in the mid 80s, 87 I believe, 86, somewhere in there, and they had to clean the barns out, power wash, and they decided not to get more pigs back in at that point. So I believe it was in maybe it was 89 when that happened, but I think it was like 89 when Phil moved up to Waldron here and started working with my dad full-time on this farm. I had another uncle, Dan, who was running the farm down to Berkey at that point, because my grandpa had started slowing down and was retiring, and they had gotten out of pigs but still had a few cows around, and 500-600 acres around at that point, 500. And so my Uncle Dan took that one over, and my dad and Phil were running the one here, but the ownership kind of was between all of them on all of those and stuff. And then my Uncle Dan passed away in 2009. That was about the time that I came back to farm. We started moving back and forth and doing all the farming down to Berkey at that time as well, and traveling back and forth. So yeah, Dad started from scratch up here, but we were farming down to Berkey with, my grandpa had some stuff down there. They did share some equipment and work back and forth, but he did it all on his own. So I consider it starting from scratch. All right. What do I use to edit videos? So I have an app on my phone That's what I use. I also have it on the computer, but I don't do anything on the computer because I film it all on my phone, and I can edit it on my phone, and I can upload it from my phone, and that's the only way this works, because otherwise it would take too long and I wouldn't have daily videos. So I use an app called Power Director. It costs me like 10 bucks a quarter, which I hate paying for an app, but I use it every day a lot, and it's worth it. So that's what I use. How big is the shop? So the front half of our shop that's insulated and heated is 54 by 56, but that wall cuts it in half, so it's really 56 by 108, I believe. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right, and that's why we're leaving it run. Chicago. Did you guys get the rain in Chicago today? Rain will move through fairly fast. I hope it does. Let's check the radar again here, because while I want some rain, I need it to not give us 3 inches, so keep it moving. Any updates on hand and hydro? No, we didn't make any decisions this week. Didn't really talk about stuff. Like I said, Dad and I are kind of on different pages this week, so we haven't talked a whole lot at all. Phil has been around some, but he's been, he's busy with stuff, and I've been so busy with this irrigation. So maybe next week we'll talk about it and make a decision. I'm gonna guess at this point nothing will be decided until much later, like probably after harvest, but I don't know. We'll see. We need you an X Series to demo. Yes, you do. Figure out how to make that happen, please. I would love to demo an X Series, but that's way too much combine for our operation, and I don't even want to know what the price tag is on them, so we'll see. Enjoy the videos. Irrigating cucumbers. Mount Olive pickles. Okay, so your pickle cucumbers down there. So there's actually a lot of pickling cucumbers raised here in Michigan, more southwest Michigan, but I've got a buddy from FFA that used to raise a bunch of pickles, and I went and visited their farm one time, and when they were harvesting in August. Crazy operation. I know, Michael, I know you've asked us a couple of times about that combine coming home. I promise it's coming quickly, because we've got to get it ready for wheat harvest. Well, the combine's pretty well ready, but I got to get the bean head ready, and I need the combine to lift it off. So soon, it will be back soon. Severe thunderstorm warning. I don't know if they're, yeah, probably. I don't know. Here, yeah, 2 alerts. What do we got? Severe storm risk, severe thunderstorm watch. Whatever. Yet I haven't had time. This irrigation thing's just killing my time and getting anything done. Do you plant any cover crops in the fall? We will do some. We'll do some cover crops in our wheat that we couldn't plant clover in it because of the herbicide that we used. We'll do some probably oats and radish blend is what we'll use most likely. We do have a couple wheat fields that we've got clover frost seeded in that's growing, and we'll let that grow after the wheat goes out. As far as after corn or soybeans, we're not going to do any cover crops then. Obviously, we plant wheat into some of the soybeans, but most of the time corn comes out too late to get any cover crops really established well. And while I see benefits in cover crops, there's a lot of drawbacks for me yet that I haven't jumped wholeheartedly on that bandwagon. Amazing how things change on things like phone calls. Yeah. How much land do we own versus rent? Honestly, I'm not sure what the split is exactly. I don't know if it's about 50-50. We probably rent more than half by a little bit, but somewhere in there. What is the time left on this irrigation pole? I don't know. Let's go see how much is left. We got about 15 minutes until the pump shuts off. So that's about how long that's going to work. But let's see where we're at footage-wise, and you guys can do some more math for me. So we're still pulling in at about 90 inches per minute. I think that was 7.5 feet. 388. So figure that out for me. What's 388 divided by 7.5? It is starting to rain a little bit, by the way. No, I'm not going to walk out there. I got no reason to walk up there. And it's raining. Okay. Back in the banks, you were good. Yeah, the difference is in the mid 80s, farming was really tough. I remember Dad saying that his loan officer with the farm credit system, they remember seeing him stopped along the side of the road assessing things about possibly repossessing the farm and stuff, and he had never even been late on a payment. Not missed a payment, not been late, nothing. Made everything on time. It was just that he was a young beginning farmer, and they were considering recalling the loans because of the way that... There we go. Inches of rain, wow. Was your 9300... Oh, geez, man, you're watching my decade in review video. That was a 24 speed. It was not a power shift. We traded that off back in, I think, when we got our 900. What about high-speed planters and tech and programs on cab monitors and sprayers? Yeah, all that tech, that stuff is not going away. It's just going to get more and more advanced, and quite honestly, I enjoy it. I like using these things. It's frustrating when it doesn't work, but when it does, man, you can do... Hey, I caught up. Cool. And we're right at an hour. No, it's 11 o'clock. All right. Have you anchored those wires in the irrigation? I have not. I'm hoping they're still all together and they're working. It turns really slow, so they shouldn't flop around too much, right? But haven't had time, man. I'm so busy. All right, so we are going to walk out here because I'm caught up now. I noticed you do 2 dryers. Which do you like best? You're talking about grain dryers, I assume. That grain handler dryer that we have is awesome, and it's continuous flow. It's fantastic. So I really like that one. We do have, actually we have 3 stormwater, well, they're GSI top dries. They work good. They're just inefficient. They're efficient from a gas and drying standpoint, but it's the grain handling and moving and time efficiency that we lose with those. So much prefer the grain handler. And yeah, oh man, this is gonna be cool here. I hope you guys can see this. We got some lightning going on in the background over here. Yeah, you can see that. When the water jet lights up from that lightning, it is very cool here. I'm gonna turn the camera around. You're not gonna be able to see anything until the lightning hits, but that's okay. Where are we at here? There was some lightning. Gotta be getting close to this thing. All right, that's no good. Sorry, I'll try and get it here. I was just walking and there was some lightning in the background, and the gun was pointing off to the one side. You could see the arch of the water and the lightning. It was cool. There's our gun. Ah, man, I'm getting a little wet here, but pretty cool. So I will get to shut my generator off and check the oil next time we got to start it up. So one thing that kind of concerns me sometimes, because like we started that generator up, I don't know, what day was that? Today's Friday. Was it Tuesday? Tuesday afternoon I started that generator up. It has not shut off since. It's been running 24 hours a day since I started it up. So at least with shutting down here tonight, we'll get to check that over a little bit. Yeah, we've got some cool lightning going on here. Oh, it's misting all over. It's starting to get windy. How many tractors do you guys own? They're probably all John Deere's. Yes, so we have all John Deere tractors. Let's see, I will just list them for you. Oldest one, John Deere 4020. It was, like I said, my grandpa bought it new in 1965. Then we have a 4440. I believe it is a 78 model. We have a 8300, 1995 model, I believe. We have a 7520. That's the tractor I used to pull the gun out here. That one's a 2004. And then let's see, what's next? Our 8430. That's a 2009. And then the 8335R. It's a 2012. And then our 9510R, which is a 2014 model. So, I don't know, however many that was. 7, 6, 7. Really, the three big ones and newer ones are the ones that we use all the time. The 8430, the 8R, and the 9R. They do the vast majority of the work, the field work, the important stuff. You made a nice investment in your grain system. Yeah, we do have quite a good grain setup. Both the one at the home farm here in Waldron and the one in Berkey. We've spent a little bit of money there in the last decade upgrading stuff, but they work really good for us. So, and there's not a whole lot that we need to do right now, so there's nothing really in the future of upgrades as far as grain systems go anyway. Getting close to running out of diesel on the generator. I am not. I put 200 gallons in it today. I brought fuel up twice, so it was full when I started this up at 6:30. I was 5:45 when I put fuel. Detroit for an irrigation pump. You talk about screaming loud. Yeah, I'm sure you can. The nice thing about that generator is it's on a trailer with a sound enclosure on it, so it's not super loud. At least when you have the doors closed. When I'm fueling it and the doors open, then it's pretty loud, but it works pretty good. So yeah. In fact, let's drive back there. Let's go look at the pump. You guys want to see the pump? I'm gonna have to, yeah. Gonna have to turn my light off or around because I can't see to back up, and I don't want to run over my pipe until I get turned around here. Okay. Trying really hard to not hit that pipe. Look at the lightning. Can you guys see lightning? Somewhere there's a lane that I can turn around in, but I haven't found it yet. My poor truck is awfully muddy from running up and down on this lane. There it is. Okay, we're gonna run over a little bit of corn here. And I think we're gonna do this the hard way and go all the way down and around because I do not want to hit that pipe. That would make it a bad day. And it hasn't been a terribly bad day, other than forgetting to turn it, or the motor dying on me. Yeah. Starting to get a little more raindrops. Live streaming while driving through a field. Huh. Didn't see that one come, did you? Hopefully I don't lose service on you. This is always the worst part about these irrigation lanes, is you get to the end and then I gotta drive through the end rows. I hate running over this corn, but that's what happens. Okay. Down the road to the next lane. We should be back there when the pump shuts off, which means we can shut our generator off while we're there. This is the first lane, kind of the main one that I drive in and out of a lot. This is really fun when the corn gets to be 8, 9, 10 foot tall and you got these little tunnels through the field here. It's quite interesting to drive down here and back through all this. And then once we get the pipe picked up, and you can go all the way through the lanes. I like to come back here with the four-wheeler and the gator and just kind of cruise through the lanes a little bit. The deer like it too. A little rough there. I don't know if you guys can see these little divots, like right there, right there. Those are tile lines. We tiled this farm last fall, and the tile lines are settling on us, so they're rough. Okay, we're back in our center lane now. The Traveler is directly behind us, where we were sitting. Drive down here to the river. There used to be a fence row up in here. Dad tore it out last summer, most of it. All it was wheat stubble. So, but I leave enough to get it all laying back here. We've got a big lump of stumps right there that needs broken apart somehow. I need some explosives is what I need. Try and shine my lights on this stuff so we can get out and you can actually see something. Okay, let's go take a look. Obviously, we've got our generator sitting here running. Like I said, it's not too terribly loud. And then our pump over here. Let's see if I can turn my light around. 75 horse motor on the pump, Cornell pump. It's a 2.5-inch pump, I believe. There's the tube drawn out of the river, and then we go into our line to get it out, yeah, for the Traveler. This here is our injection line. That's pulling the ATS out of this tank, and this little pump right here is injecting that into the main line. You can see I've got it set down. It's barely moving that piston in there. It's adjustable for rate. So here's the river. Just try not to fall in. Pipes down there. Yeah. So that's the pump and that's set up. Let's look at our timer here real quick. Oh yeah, it's gonna shut off any second. Right there. I did not click that, I promise. Okay, so our pump is done, and we're done pumping water. So we got to go back and start the Traveler up. It's gonna shut off because of the loss of pressure. But I'm gonna give it just a minute here for the hang on, I'll flip you back around. Get my camera mount or my light. Okay, so I'm going to give it just a minute here for the generator to cool down, and we'll shut that off, and then we'll go back and get that started up. So, all right, back to some comments here. Noticed any deer? Yeah, I see a ton of deer around right now. Whoa. Whoa. I think the raindrops are making my touchscreen not work. Get back in my truck for a minute. Okay. Yeah, I've noticed a lot of deer around this year. I saw 4 of them out this morning, actually. Corn maze. Yeah, it's kind of like a corn maze out here. It's just the lanes are all, the lines in it are all straight. Dynamite, yes. Ship me some. How do I get it? Fertilizer and diesel. Yeah, I can't get any ammonium nitrate. That's the good stuff. Pumping water pretty far. Yeah, we are pumping water pretty far. We're actually only about halfway down our pipe right now, but when we were doing that first run, the first day, it was clear at the end of it. And there's 4,200 feet of 6-inch aluminum pipe, and then there's 1,200 feet of 4-inch hose on the Traveler itself. So we're pumping water well over a mile to get to the end of the gun on that. We kind of fabbed it together on our own, but it's definitely somebody makes that fertilizer injection system. It's not homemade. We just the plumbing on it basically. Creek, river ever been low in water to irrigate? No, I have never seen this river dry. We're kind of the headwaters, Hillsdale County, where we're based. There's 5 different watersheds that start in this county, and the St. Joe River is one of them, but I think it must be spring fed or something because it never runs dry, and we're at normal flow now, and you can't tell that we're making a dent in the amount of water going down the river. So no issues there. Okay, let's go shut our generator off. $49.91. That's what the hour meter says. That's not accurate, but it works. It's been replaced, I think, at some point. So I wrote it down what we had when we started. I'll have to look and see, but we put a bunch of hours on it this week. I know that. Okay, now we got to drive back to the Traveler again, without running over the pipe. Bugs crawling on my light. Bam, there. Okay. Raindrops on the window. Whoa. I have to turn the 4-wheel drive on. Run a little mud. Don't get stuck. Yeah, we're going to get out of this field just in time, I can tell you that, because it's going to get muddy here pretty soon. So I'm going to go up here and shut this off, or start this back up, and I'll show it to you guys, but we're going to go ahead and end the live stream after that's done, because I'm leaving. I'm going home and going to bed. So if you got any last questions, get them in now, and I'll answer them before we're done here. So somewhere right up here, right here, you guys can't see it, but right there is the lane that we drove out when we went out, back around. Yeah, anyway. Definitely raining in my window. Okay. You'll notice this corn right here is really small. This is our replant corn. That's why it's so small right here. There's this, like I said, we're sitting in a low spot. Hopefully it doesn't flood. 288 feet yet. It won't take real long to reel itself in. Yeah. Basically, let me turn my light back on here. This is the Murphy switch. Pressure gauge there. We push this little button and then it trips it so that we can actually start it back up without it being grounded. So we'll start our motor up. Maybe. Did that button not push? There. Wow, what's going on here? I tell you what. It looks okay. This should go. There it goes. Alright, so we'll let that finish. Make sure all our windows are closed on that tractor. I think everything looks good. The rest of this stuff, it can sit here. Just like I said, if we get a ton of rain, we're going to come move it because I don't want this thing sitting here in a giant mud hole. If you look over here farther, you guys can't see anything, can you? I got a light on. Anyway, over here somewhere, there's actually water out here from the flood that we had over a month ago. Right there. I don't know how there's still water right there, but there is. Let me get you turned around again. So we're kind of, I mean, we're a little ways away, and if we got a bunch of water, we're in a bad spot. But we'll worry about that in the morning. It isn't going to flood overnight. Okay, where are we at with comments? Is the corn going to uncurl now? Yeah, so that corn that you saw curling in my video, cool and cloudy and dark at night, it actually does unroll then, and it sort of takes a second to breathe, which is a good thing. So it does that pretty much every night, so it's not rolled up right now. But this rain will definitely help it tomorrow. It should grow really good, especially if we stay warm. The perfect weather for corn is about 85 degrees and sunny every day, and you get a tenth or two of rain every night, or a quarter of an inch of rain every night would be great, but we need it to be warm and sunny during the day for photosynthesis, and we need it to cool down at night to give the plants a break. When we start getting low temperatures above 70 degrees at night, that's really hard on the corn. Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting ready to go. I'm gonna get out of the field. It's not raining too hard yet, but it's coming, isn't it? Getting closer. Before I get home, it's gonna be pouring. I know that. Okay, a few more. How far do I live from the farm? So from the farm, I live about 5 or 6 miles. And yes, that is the plan, is to build a house there at my seed warehouse. This is my water cooler for the night. No snacks, which I didn't get dinner tonight, dang it. I was working on my landscaping projects, if you saw that in the videos from last weekend or a couple weeks ago. So there may have been a beer consumed earlier. Bug. Rain. Okay. You know, I don't really spend a whole lot of extra time filming. I think Dad thought it was pretty dumb at first, but he knows I do it and doesn't seem to have a problem with it. But you'd be surprised. It actually motivates me, because especially like when we're in the shop work in the winter and stuff, I have to have something to film, right? So if I'm gonna put a video out every day, I gotta do something. So away from it. So what do you use for generator and pump? It's a Coleman genset 190 kW. The reason we use that is because we had it for our grain system. I'll talk about that later, but we run our grain system with a generator, so we had it, so it was easier and cheaper to use that than to buy a motor on a pump. And I didn't want to use a tractor and a PTO because we don't want to rack up hours on a tractor doing that. I'm putting on an inch of water per pass, roughly 0.8 to an inch. We'll probably do it 2 or 3 times. So, all right, guys, I gotta go. It's gonna rain here, and I gotta get out of the field. So, thanks for watching. Have a good night. There will be a video out tomorrow morning, but that'll probably be it until Tuesday. Then, when I start work up again Monday. So, yeah, have a great night. Thanks for watching. Hit the like button for me if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, which you have. Otherwise, why would you be here? Please do that. Let's get to 10,000 by the time we get to wheat harvest. Thanks, guys. See ya.